4, 3, 2, 1,
Sync.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the TTV Podcast, episode I didn't bother checking before we started.
272!
272!
Mardi
I'm
Gras.
Vardaran.
It's not.
Okay,
It's not
so
what the
right
fuck
before
I'm
recording.
I'm Vardaran.
Oh yeah.
I'm Meso.
I'm Prpl.
I'm XX Trooper, and what
Mardi
are you talking
Gras.
about?
Mardi Gras, Mardi Gras, Mardi
Shut
Gras.
up! Purple's gonna talk now.
But I never did
Thank
Mardi
you,
Gras.
Alex.
Think
Oh,
about it.
no.
So right before we started recording, I had my mouse hovering over the leave call
The
button.
more words you
instead
say
of the
after I say no,
record
the
button.
less money you make this month.
It's okay, it's all getting edited out in post anyway.
Good.
Don't,
Your money's
why
getting
is
edited out
everyone
in
mean
post.
to Purple? She is a
No,
treasure.
I'm not. I don't even care about Prpl right now. I'm mad at you. How dare you usurp my authority? You piece of turd.
Authoritative.
How dare you
I just
try to-
I was just curious what Purple had to say. You know, she.
Yeah,
doesn't-
maybe I was curious about what Prpl had to say too, but there are rules that are established that we can't just break.
Are
You can't
one
just
of the
break
rules that you need to show up?
Well, yes.
Now listen,
You're right there.
If this
That
whole
is-
schedule initiative thing has taught me one thing, nobody in TTV knows how to time zone. You included it.
Nobody in TTV is reliable
Dude,
at
I
all.
am good at time zoning.
You
now.
literally showed up
It's just
at
X,
the top.
one
are
time.
you serious?
No. You
Are you-
showed up at the top of the hour like, hey, it's podcast time, right? But like, it's pretty obvious by this point. We have a half-hour convening time.
Yeah, but like
buffer,
podcast
and, like,
time
every time
includes.
you ask.
Podcast time includes like when
I already
we're
yelled about
supposed to come
that one.
together. I just don't want
Come
the thing
together
that happened
right
the other
now.
time.
Okay. So, in X's defense, he had a decent, I just realized we completely never heard what Prpl had to say.
Are you serious?
Did you ever
What
say
she
it?
said? She said mouse and end call and
Repeat it, because I legitimately
You
didn't
actually
hear
said
you.
something? I thought we cut you
Oh,
off,
She
and you
said
never finished
words.
No.
All I heard was
Okay.
like,
it. X, what did Prpl tell us?
She
Please,
to-
explain
okay,
to the
I don't know exactly.
Explain to
what,
the class what
I
Prpl
don't
said.
know what she said specifically, but I know
Exactly.
parts of it.
It's because we didn't finish.
Oh,
Oh my
okay. Continue, Purple.
Okay, so right before we started recording, I had my
I
mouse
just realized I
hovering,
didn't care.
hovering over that leave call button instead of the record button, so that would have been really funny. You guys can
really?
hear
Huh?
me.
Do we really go back to that?
great, Purple! You're such a comedy!
What do you mean you had your mouse hovering over the leave
You're
call
the best,
button?
Purple.
Instead of recording.
Never change. See, the punchline is like a would-be. It's like, it would have been funny if... I could say it would have been funny if
But it
Purple had made
wouldn't
a
have
funny
been funny.
joke.
It would have been stupid.
Like, it didn't happen.
Yeah, but I'm just like picturing it. It's like you do the countdown and then all of a sudden I leave call by mistake.
So yeah, we're at TTV
No, it's
Podcast.
not you too.
I'm glad you could be here.
Here we talk about our life, which is not about Lego, and it's really hard for me to say stuff because
I feel like I would have paid her to not say anything.
the only
You're a
thing that
trooper,
happens
Purple.
with me right
And
now
you
is
too,
Lego
X.
related. So
But
Listen,
X, what about the
in X's
video
defense-
games?
In X's defense, right? He was worried that we weren't going to start on time.
yeah,
And to be fair, we didn't start on time.
yeah.
That's pretty true.
Yeah. I completely misread the schedule and thought that you were supposed to be here and not Takuma.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So
But, like,
when...
why me?
I don't know. I for whatever reason, I just thought it was you.
I don't know.
Every time we're on the same podcast together, I host.
When,
Yeah, I know. Well, that's the thing. I wasn't expecting to be hosting.
Yeah, because John got stuck in traffic for the umpteenth time.
Yeah.
what
Dude,
is it
that
with
guy's got
traffic,
a problem,
dude?
man. He can't drive.
Where
he
does
can't,
all
he
this
just can't.
traffic come? I was
He doesn't have any I don't know, self-aware, time
Never
awareness, I
forget
guess.
the airport grind.
He just can't properly prepare himself to go on long trips. He's always late, no matter what. You guys don't know this, right?
Oh, no.
So he's been scheduled to come to my house several times now to get review stuff done, right? There was the one time he got the giant shipment of Lego sets, the Ninjago wave.
Yeah.
And he was supposed to get to my house. He said he was going to get there at 6 o'clock, right?
Okay.
Yeah, go on.
At 7 o'clock, he texted me, "Hey, I'm going to be late. I had stopped to get dinner."
Okay.
9:30 rolls around, and he's like, "I'll be there soon." And at 10 p.m., he finally shows up. He was supposed to get there at 6 p.m.
4
hours later, he finally arrives.
No,
and I'm
listen.
like, all right, cool.
I've been there before. 4-hour dinner. It's good.
Yeah, 4-hour dinner, dude. You know, it's just what you normally do.
Go to a
And it's
buffet
like,
and then you just stay there.
4 hours.
I can't even say like
That's
that
a
was
lot
the
of
only
food.
time. Literally every time he's decided he's going to come over to my house to do whatever, he's been late by at least an hour.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know what is this guy doing, man? He just doesn't-
Traffic.
I'm very
You
intrigued
can
by
like
this
you can
4-hour
open up your
buffet.
stupid Google Maps app and be like, when am I going to get to this place if I leave now? And it'll tell you the time
Does it
that
really?
it will be when you get there. Yes.
What do you mean Prpl? You don't know about estimate?
Yeah, have you
I don't
never
use-
used Google Maps?
No.
Oh, you should. It's useful.
Yeah, why wouldn't you use it?
I don't go places I'm not already familiar with.
There you go.
I don't leave the house.
All right, well, cool. Glad to know that you'd be late too.
No, listen, I would
Anyway.
be 2 hours early, okay? I'm
She
like
showed
Probably.
up first.
I'm
today,
like a
though.
freaking freak when it comes to being on time. If I'm not at least a half hour early, I like panic.
Ah, I see. You're one of those
It just
people.
it's so confusing. Like he's late to everything. Everything.
Really? He seemed like the punctual kind of person, so it
Nah,
seems...
dude. It's like to his own detriment too. Like he nearly killed himself trying to get to that stupid airport because he was
No,
late.
it's
Oh,
the airport,
yeah.
Remember?
It's like
The
how did
car thing could have very easily been fatal if he was like
it could have.
lucky.
Yeah, if he had just like left 30 minutes sooner.
Well, no, he wasn't able to leave sooner because of like school and stuff. Like he had to take an exam or something. So yeah, that wasn't
exam is-
actually on him that time.
Good old exams.
I mean, was it really not though?
I mean, if the exam runs late, then it runs late.
Exams are not... What? Exams can't run late. Exams are like... What? No.
Did the exam run late though?
Yes.
Or did it
How
just
do you
run
know
regularly?
he wasn't lying?
And this exam was after BrickFeed?
I don't know, man. I'm not John.
I don't know.
All right.
Fair enough.
I mean,
John,
you
you seem to
you're
know a
defending
lot.
him, so
You seem to know a lot.
sounds like you know information I don't know. So that's why I'm asking.
Oh, no, well, I mean, yeah, he just, like, had an exam, and he said it ran late, or whatever. So,
Thinking emoji.
Thinking emoji. Yeah.
there's so many thinking emojis on the server.
It's just,
It's
It's
not.
the best.
It's just.
It's the best meme. You know, it's the. Cool
I don't know,
shit.
man. It's like I try to be at the airport like at least an hour ahead of time, right? Sometimes I'm way earlier than an hour
Two.
just to be there.
Well, like any
Yeah.
airport ever.
Yeah.
Yeah, just to make sure that I'm not going to miss anything. If anything goes wrong,
1
I'm going
hour.
to know, and I'm going to be there. Yeah.
I'm there 2 hours.
Mm-hmm. So like you get to make up for anything you can't predict, like traffic. Really,
Yeah,
but
but
getting in
1
the way
hour
or-
is very small time. Like even if you went to.
Yeah, I
if
see.
you-
Even you think that's small. You think that's a small amount of time. You would be there way before 1 hour, right?
I would if I'm at a big airport like Heathrow, I'd be there minimum 3 hours beforehand.
Yeah.
Right.
there
Okay.
you go.
There you
wow.
go.
Different.
So yeah, you're kind of on the same page. I'm like, at least I would be there an hour ahead of time, right?
There's only
So
a
like,
minimum.
if I'm planning my trip out, right, and I know I've got a really important airplane I need to catch, I'm not gonna book my plane, 30 minutes after my test.
Just not enough time, man.
It's like, yeah. To be fair, I think I remember him saying that he forgot that it was going to be in Charlottesville and not Lynchburg. So
even
I
worse.
think I know it's really worse.
How you feel about airport? It's like it's a big deal. Oh well.
I'll have to come back and actually tell us what happened there. 'Cause
Yeah.
I remember to this day I'm like, how could the situation have even happened?
Doesn't really make much sense, eh?
But yeah. So people are always late to things.
I'm
Yup.
never late to things.
Me
I was
neither.
five-
Yeah,
I was
probably-
5 minutes early to class yesterday, and I felt like I was dying because I just barely got there in time.
Does anyone
Something
else
like
have
that.
the mentality of anything less than 5 minutes doesn't exist? Because all right, so what
What does that mean?
my girlfriend, all right, she She always misses like the buses or anything because she has like an app on her phone which says like when the bus is supposed to arrive. So she's like, the bus says on the app, "Hey, it's supposed to arrive in 2 minutes," and then she's like, she'll leave the house when it's 2 minutes until the bus. I would never leave anything to anywhere less than 5 minutes because anything less than 5 minutes, that's nothing. You're gonna be late for the thing if that makes sense.
You're gonna miss it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Makes sense to me.
And it's just,
I think it makes sense.
yeah, I don't know. It's just a weird
Like,
concept.
if I were to be leaving 2 minutes before my bus was going to arrive, I'm going to assume I'm going to miss it. Like, I'd be freaking out.
Yeah, because you always have to take into account is that you have to stop what you're doing and then you need to get dressed or put your shoes on or whatever and open and close the door and all that. Like, everything takes time. You can't just be like, oh, you'll be out in like 1 second. It's not like a video game
take
where you
way
hold
more
down
time than you
square to open the
expect,
door.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just walking into like the kitchen, for example, from my studio room right here into the kitchen is like a minute and a half, and it doesn't feel like it, but it's like that's a whole minute right there just to walk to the other side of my apartment.
Time slows down when you have somewhere to be. Or
Yeah,
no,
you
it
just-
speeds up
Really?
when you have somewhere to be.
For me,
like-
when I have somewhere to be, time
That
goes
speeds up.
like
Yeah, I
Speeds up.
misspoke. It's like all the things that you wouldn't normally think would take that long suddenly are like, oh no, I forgot about this. I didn't factor
Yeah.
this in. Ah.
You also got to consider, like, assuming like you're using it like an app that tells you when your bus is about to arrive or whatever. It's like it's tracking that bus's route and where it is currently in that route, but there's a delay still between the bus signaling a signal out to however, like, whatever satellite or whatever is picking up its GPS location, and then that signal being transplanted to your phone. You know, there's a delay there, so.
And that's accounting if everything goes 100% on schedule, which it
Right.
never ever does.
Maybe
always
the
something
bus
that
driver's
happens.
speeding and there's no traffic at all.
Yeah.
You know, you never know. So you just gotta, like, be prepared to get there ahead of time.
Yeah, you gotta get in like a little bit of like safety minutes, you know, just in case something happens, you know. It's
So this has been a big roundabout way of saying Takuma is awful and didn't read the schedule. So
Well, you
I'm
might have
seeing
had
that he's.
Discord issues or something.
Apparently he's had a piece of trash day.
Oh.
Oh,
I hope,
now I
you're,
feel
hope
bad.
you're doing okay, Takuma.
I specifically only said that just because he joined the call too.
Oh my god.
Takuma, the chat can be visible in the video. Do you have anything to say to the audience? Type it out. Anyway.
Oh, boy.
yes, that's
Yes.
what he has to say.
He said yes.
I have this.
He said yes.
Is that it?
No, there's more. We're
oh,
building suspense.
I'm
he's typing.
I'm at the edge of my seat. What
I can't wait.
What will he say? Huh? That's
Screw Friday the 17th of
Aw,
November
man.
2017. Wow.
well. Time is nothing but a human construct. You know what you're essentially mad as doesn't exist. It's something.
I'm kind of curious to hear a story. I wonder if he'd be willing to hop onto the podcast temporarily just to say it.
Don't do this, Mark.
So I'm just
Don't
just
violate
saying,
your own rules.
I'm just like we can have like a quick guest host just to say like a couple of things, then leave. You know, that wouldn't be too bad.
No, we got four.
It's-
It's the squad on like.
I'm just curious,
Something.
man.
If he's
Aren't
willing,
you curious?
I am
he
a
can
curious
pop up.
man.
If it's a
I'm-
podcast-worthy story, what do you say, Takuma? Is that a podcast-worthy story?
Not like you would care, Meso.
Guess not. I don't care what other people's feelings.
So, has anything like crazy happened this week in the world, guys? Has there?
A lot of stuff.
What is it? A
Probably
lot of
not
stuff.
kid friendly, but
Can you sum it? All right, kid friendly stuff that's happened.
Cricket
Is there
noises.
something regarding a video game maybe?
Battlefront 2.
Can we talk about that
Hey,
for a little bit?
Yeah, Prpl, are you ready to talk about Battlefront 2? Are you excited about that one?
is that the World War II game?
No, that's
I mean, that's fair, I guess.
That was pretty good. I like
Too
that. That was great. You're so wrong that it was just perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a Star Wars one.
yeah.
Yes.
This,
Oh, dang it. You actually know?
Yeah.
Man. Why are you faking your
It's a
stupidity, Prpl?
summarization for
Because
fans
it's
who
a
don't know.
persona.
come
Is
on,
it
give
though?
it to him,
Yeah.
Meso.
For fans who
Why,
don't
why would
know,
you want that persona?
So people have low expectations of me, so I can wow them
Why
more
would you
easily.
want people to have low expectations
So I
of
can
you?
wow
I
them
have
easily.
expectations of hearing.
You're not
what
wowing
Meso
anyone.
has
All
to
that happens
say.
is that we end up talking over you like I'm talking over X because I've got low expectations of him.
Yes.
Oh,
What?
screw you.
What? You made me dubstep, but you know, Meso,
I did?
quickly say the thing. Do it. Do it.
Battlefront
You
2,
made
what
me
happened?
dubstep.
It is the latest Star Wars game made by DICE and EA. It has a microtransaction system for progression. It was hilariously bad. It would cost, I think, $2,000+ to get everything in the game versus like 1 billion hours. Not
What
literally.
kind
Yeah,
of
it was
progression did they have, Meso?
Well, it was loot boxes. That's the trigger
Strictly
words.
loot boxes. It's just random
Loot boxes.
progression, just random stuff that you get.
It's like, well, loot boxes, I think, are a very slippery slope, right? I think Overwatch is a game that does loot boxes fine enough. You can choose to put money into those, or you can just earn them, with normal progression, and they don't actually give you anything that changes the way the game works.
But Battlefront, on the other hand,
Battlefront, on the other hand, has all kinds of crazy perks and equipment and like different like attack modes and guns and stuff that you can unlock through the loot box
Heroes.
that you otherwise couldn't get normally.
Darth
think-
Vader and Luke Skywalker.
I think it's more the fact that it's a $60 game, and then it still has something that's like reminiscent of what you see in free.
If this was
play
free
games.
to play, it would be an
yeah, then
entirely
it would be
different
fine.
scenario.
But they want you to
I want you to
pay
pay the
$60.
game and then pay the rest, basically.
Yeah. But
So,
no,
I don't
they-
even know. Like, even if it was free to play, I think the current model they have is pretty terrible.
Are you
Yeah,
guys gonna get the game? Are you guys thinking of getting
Yeah,
it?
probably.
Here's what I'm going to do
Probably.
to get it. I'm going to wait for it to drop to $20, and I'm going to buy it on eBay. That's what I'm going to do. That way I don't support them literally at
They
all.
have said though that they're returning with the microtransactions, but I'm curious
okay.
about that. Do we know 100%?
It depends on their changes.
If
That's the missing thing that we have. Yeah,
That's the
covered.
missing link. That's what's going to make it or break it
came
for me.
out
He's
yeah,
right.
with
like,
a
do we know
statement saying
if
we
they're
are
going to return with cosmetics only, or they're going to return?
No. Just for the fans who don't know, EA released a statement basically saying, we hear your feedback. We're temporarily taking out all microtransactions from the game. But they will be brought back at a later time, and the words they used were like, when we have reevaluated a new way to balance time commitment versus... So they're coming back, and the entire system is coming back. The word they're using is an accelerated experience. Meaning for people that want an accelerated experience
It doesn't-
to spend money.
It doesn't
So
sound to me like it's like, hey, we're going to return it, but it's going to be cosmetic only. It more sounds like we're going to return it, and it's going to be like actual advantages, but it's not going to be as bad. So it's still...
It depends. It depends on, because from what it sounds like, it sounds like they're going to rework it to some degree, which is fine.
I know, but like no
If-
matter how they rework it, if they still have that you can pay to get some sort of advantage that's not cosmetic, then like that's a huge thing
Yeah,
for a lot of people. So that'll just...
I agree.
So
I agree. So that's why it's the level of how much they're going to rework it that I think really matters. Because like we know they've suspended it temporarily. They're going to go back. They're going to rethink it, and they're going to try and implement different things for going forwards. It's just the level of those different things that we don't know yet. So for all we know, they could be making it cosmetics only. We don't actually know. They could be adding a completely new progression system, next to those loot boxes that's going to help kind of either alleviate the grind that you're going to have to go through to get things for free, or just like, completely, I don't know, rework entirely. We don't know. I don't think they're going to do anything that's going to be very consumer friendly because it's EA. But with that said, it's you can't really undersell the impact that all the fighting, the pushback has caused. It's clearly
there is some
it's
sort
clearly
of victory
affected.
here, but
Yeah, it's clearly affected EA's look on the whole thing. They're clearly like, we have to do some kind of damage control here.
what
This
I'm
is the
curious,
largest
That's
pushback
big.
against loot boxes and microtransactions ever.
Yeah,
what I'm
that's
curious
big.
about though is I'm under the impression that like Disney is evil and it's just gonna buy everything and take over us and like enslave humanity at some point, basically.
Disney BIONICLE Chinese New Year 2017. I mean,
But,
what?
like,
It's a very
But a lot of people said or think or theorized that a lot of people went to Disney and talked about what EA was doing with the Star Wars IP. What I'm wondering is that if this was like sort of on EA's part, this whole microtransaction thing, or if it was like from more above, like inside of Disney or something. I don't know.
I think
I don't think
we don't
we'll
know.
ever know for sure.
We'll never know for sure, but I personally, I feel like it's Disney that was like, all right, can you guys take control of this? We have a movie coming out this year, guys. This is really not looking good for Star Wars at the moment. Please, some damage control, guys, please.
I believe
that's what I
is
think happened.
What's happening as well.
So,
Simply because the
because
loot box model persists to other EA franchises.
Yeah. And because there is a story in this game too. I think that's the big difference between this one and the last game, where it's like, okay, now we actually have to like be very careful about what happens, because they're working with canon elements now that could shape the future of the Star Wars story if things aren't handled correctly. So, I mean, there's already people theorizing that this game is tied directly into the movies. I don't really buy that per se, but if that's true, and the story does tie into the movies directly
with the movies, as in like
it ties in a very specific way.
Oh. I mean, I get it's canon though, so like theoretically everything is like.
Well, yes. I mean, it's the level of how far the story ties in. There's theories out there that are saying that the story of Battlefront 2 ties in directly in a very specific way to the story of The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi. And if that's the case, if that's true, it would make sense that Disney would be like, okay, we gotta reel this in. We gotta make sure that this thing sells, because if it doesn't sell and people aren't going to buy this, then we kind of screwed up the whole story thing here.
Interesting.
So, if it's not as, I mean, I still don't think it's that tied in, to be honest. I don't really know what to believe. I don't think that Disney would put really hardcore story elements of their new franchise into a video game that not every person seeing the movie is going to see. But with that said, I don't know that level of connection. So I do think that the damage that's being caused by the microtransactions thing is definitely harming the Star Wars brand. So I definitely feel like the Disney overlords were like, guys, if you don't fix this, families are going to die.
Oh no!
Gosh.
Not the families. No, I mean, like I agree. I think it's very interesting strategy that EA is going with here, because this is the first time anything like this has ever happened. A publisher actually backing down and saying, all right, we're going to just completely cut out this incredibly large section from our game. The interesting thing, though, is that they're very obviously going to bring them back. They've already said as much. They're going to do it after Christmas. I guarantee you. They're going to have this microtransaction-free game last until Christmas.
After the movie.
And until after the movie, after everybody's bought the game for Christmas. Hey, look, it's changed, guys! And then I guarantee you, January, they're going to bring it all back. And by then, who cares? They've already bought the game. Doesn't matter.
I will say, though, that like disabling microtransactions for a game like Star Wars Battlefront
it's a big deal.
Like it not being there on launch date in and of itself, they're going to lose a lot of money, because there's so many people that would otherwise like. But there's probably some people that
FPS
like would only buy it because it's Star
population.
Wars, play it for half an hour, then buy a couple loot boxes, and they.
Yeah,
that's it,
no matter how you frame it, this is definitely a victory, regardless of whether it's temporary or not. It was a big victory. It's definitely a stepping stone towards a change in direction for the video game industry.
Takuma put it quite well on Twitter. It's the first battle has been won in a very long war.
Yeah, I'm really glad that, like, because the loot box thing is crazy in terms of games. It's coming everywhere, and I'm really liking that, like, hey, the gaming industry is not allowed to go as far as mobile games have reached just yet, at least. Like, it seems like the backlash from people, and like there's been like investigations of like loot boxes being gambling or not. So it feels like something is happening. I'm curious. I'm curious as to like there will be like big laws or something with loot boxes in terms of games.
I believe there will be very soon. There was one country, I can't remember what the country was, that had just opened up investigations in both Battlefront and Overwatch for their
Belgium, I think?
Was it China?
No,
I don't think it was China, no.
No, China was, they implemented like a law or something in terms of like games need to show the chances of like how the rarity of the items that you got in loot boxes.
Yeah, that was a different thing. The article that I read, or the headline, I didn't read the article. The headline that I read, it was a recent thing. It was very much in response to the Battlefront controversy. So, I think it was the Dutch that I read.
Netherlands?
Yeah. Okay, yeah, here's another. This is not the headline that I saw, but this is Belgium and Dutch authorities are investigating loot boxes in video games. So, I don't know if that's directly connected. I'm pretty sure that is. But that's not the headline I originally read, but sounds like the same story.
Yeah, hopefully we'll get back to, playing games to play games.
It's not going to happen.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's never going to happen. This loot box thing isn't going to go away, but it is going to be mitigated. I think it's important to put your foot down at a certain point. This is that point. In a game that tries to do anything like this is the point you should reach. It's fun in moderation, especially in this era where we had this thing for a while, because it's all about sustainable post-launch revenue. That's all it comes down to. How far can we really stretch this game to make money, even after it's launched? And they did season passes for a while. They pushed those as far as they could go, I think, and then people started getting frustrated with them because they split the player base. And they're like, well, we'll take those away, but we still got to find some way to generate post-launch revenue now that this precedent's been established, and that's where we have loot boxes. But now those are getting too far. I'm curious what the next evolution of this concept will be. If it's just going to stagnate and be like cosmetics and skins and stuff, or if there's another way that's going to morph in the future.
I don't know. I feel like right now we're paying for digital things that don't exist. I don't think they can kind of go too much from there.
It's interesting though, because at some level someone's going to put their foot down. Some kind of government thing is going to put its foot down. Well, no, not just us, but I feel like we're already seeing the Dutch and the Belgian people are looking into stuff like this. I think someone's going to set a precedent. With Marvel Heroes, for instance, that just went out. There's tons of outrage about that one because that game was literally just launched on PS4 and Xbox this year. Marvel Heroes, I think there's some tagline for it, but there's a console version of it that launched.
You are correct.
This year, so it was kind of a big deal that Disney actually canceled that.
It's there's a big story there. I could spend I was doing some digging into the stuff with Marvel Heroes. I'm not going to. I could spend a half hour talking about just that alone. It's messed up. This whole thing where you have games come out, people spend upwards of $800 on skins and cosmetics for a game that will then get shuttered. In incredibly quickly time. It's out of control.
That's specifically why I think someone's going to end up stepping in and being okay, we can't do this anymore. Because that's a game that people are spending money on for things that literally don't exist anymore. So I read a comment from some dad who was I just got this game for my son and I just spent $100 on some characters for him to play. And now you're telling me that the game is going to be taken down? So it's that guy got screwed out of $160 at least.
Oh my god. And they're not even going to refund him or anything?
As far as I know, no. There's been no announcements that any refunds are going to happen. So people, this is a new game. It just came out this year. Obviously Marvel Heroes, the whole brand has been around for a while, but the port to the consoles just came out this year. People just bought this thing. And now it's
unbelievable because it's always been kind of a sketchy thing when game servers get shut off, but this is way worse because it's that plus all the microtransaction garbage.
Yep.
Yeah,
it's crazy,
and it's also really weird because it's essentially something that you have some sort of your property or something, but it doesn't actually exist, and you have people on games like Call of Duty spend lots of money on loot boxes and cosmetics, and then after a year a new Call of Duty comes out and then it eventually gets discontinued, and you essentially just wasted all that money at that point because
this was the biggest pushback to moving to digital for a while there too. A lot of people who are I'm never going to buy my games digital. I'm always going to go physical because what happens if Microsoft goes down? What happens if the Xbox gets canceled or whatever? And service for that just expires. All those games for gold that you got for free for your Xbox Live membership every month, what's going to happen to those when Xbox Live is taken down?
Or you get banned and you have all digital.
Or you get banned.
Then you can't.
There was even even the thing with like the big controversy with Destiny 2 recently on the PC version, where people were like complaining. I don't actually know what the true facts of that was, but there are people who are saying that they got banned to day one after installing the game for no reason at all.
Apparently it was,
So.
I didn't read too much into it because that story kind of like went away, but it was only like 400 people.
Bungie hilariously mismanaged that because they came out and were like, there's no problem whatsoever. So everybody then spent a whole day attacking the people on Reddit, saying like, you lied, you were cheaters, and that's why you got banned.
Yeah,
and then later
Bungie
that
does a
day,
lot of
Bungie
weird
sneaked
stuff.
a little message in and was like, oh, and by the way, we found that some of the bans were made in error, so we're gonna revoke those. And it's like, wow, dude.
It's very hard to trust Bungie with anything. There's so many things throughout Destiny which they said, hey,
But X.
this is a
Bungie
glitch.
is like a bungee cord. They just keep snapping back and forth.
But they have like 100% lied on some levels. They literally said they implemented there was a game mechanic in the game present for a very long while, and then suddenly one day they patched it and they said, oh no, this was a glitch. And it's just like, what?
Mm-hmm.
What? No. And I still...
What are you talking about?
I'm talking about on the last raid. I'm going to try to not make this... Oh, he's talking about Destiny again.
Is it the enemies not spawning?
No. On the last boss in the first raid, he had a mechanic at launch in which he would teleport 3 people, 3 out of 6 people. And he teleported the 3 people that was closest to him. And then they patched it so that it would just teleport 3 random people. You can't tell me for sure that you accidentally shipped the game and accidentally had a glitch which made 3 people that were closest to the boss and like everyone had established and thought was a mechanic, and you had strategies based on that mechanic, and then you said it was a glitch. And like I bring up this so many times.
Changed it because it was too easy, probably.
I know. And they
strategy.
said, they straight up said it. That's straight up lying to the people playing your game. And I still bring that up with a lot of Reddit posts and people just downvote it because but like let's not talk more about Destiny. But
I don't know, man. It's you got to be careful with that kind of stuff. Like I feel for these studios a little bit, right? It's like I feel for DICE a little bit because I feel like DICE actually wanted to make a good game. You look at Battlefront 2 and then you look at Battlefront 1 and you can see like they clearly were like, all right, our game wasn't perfect. Let's try to go back. Let's try to make a game that actually appeals to people. Let's make it fun again. I mean, I played the beta. I thought it was really good. I thought they did a great job of, fixing some of the things I hated about the first one, especially when it came to, at the time, progression. It was like, oh yeah, you can actually see your hero on the loadout now. You can actually tell how soon you're going to be able to pick that hero now. It's not just completely random. Yeah. And then the whole loot box thing happened, and it's like, geez.
One thing
and
that's
you know that's all EA too. Like that's the studio or the producers being like, all right, we have to make sure we increase our our aftermarket revenue. We got to make sure we got to get that thing going.
Even though all of these things that are happening with this game are so horrible, it's very unfortunate that it's so overshadowed because like Star Wars is a very beloved IP. There's a lot of people that have grown up with that and love Star Wars to death, and like the game, like. From just graphics standpoint, it's incredibly beautiful, and like this has just not been talked about at all, basically, just because of the loot box thing, which is very unfortunate because like the first one had very photorealistic graphics and looked completely beautiful, and then the second one looks even better, and that's just thrown out the window because of larger issues, and it's unfortunate,
It's
do what I do
because the game is good. That's the thing that gets me. The game is good. It would have been a success. It would have been great. People would have loved it if it wasn't for this stupid progression system. But that's not enough
for the gaming industry. You don't have it's not that's not even a priority to make a good game. It's about how much can you microtransaction it, It's
just if I had to make a recommendation, if you want to enjoy Battlefront 2, if you're out there and you're like, well, I don't want to support bad practices, well, do what I'm going to do. Buy it at $20 at Christmas. There's going to be 1 billion sales. Buy it from a third-party seller, and whatever you do, when they reintroduce microtransactions, don't take the bait. Don't do it. Don't be a fish. You're a human. Don't take the bait. Yeah, it's like fishing for your money.
You're making it worse
Don't
for
do
yourself.
it.
You're just screwing yourself.
Listen to Meso. On the topic of games, do you guys have you guys heard about the thing that's happening with indie developers?
I am not, no.
Basically,
There's a billion.
ESRB, it's like the rating thing that you have.
The rating thing, yeah.
Good old SRB.
To sell physical copies of your game, you need a ESRB rating to like sell it through stores and retailers. And they basically will not sell or touch your game without an ESRB rating.
Okay.
What they did now is that they made, I cannot like remember 100% the details, but basically they have a fee now, which is based on I don't know what it's based on, but it's not based on the amount of copies of a game made. So say that someone wants a game rated to be sold and they have 500 copies that they're going to sell, and then some other guy has 1 million copies that they're going to sell. They both have to pay the same fee. And so this hurts indie developers because they need to pay the same kind of fee as like these big developers to rate their game so that it can sell. And this is only physical copies though, so indie games can still sell on like Steam or like online or something. But like as for physical copies, indie games are just gonna disappear basically right now because there's so much money. There's like $6,000 fees or something, and it's just
I didn't even know
bad
that.
business.
Was there really a lot of indie game developers that were making physical copies of their game though?
Not really.
Not really,
It's
but the
just
thing
more
is that some
principle-based.
up and coming indie developers, even like selling like 100 physical copies of a game, that will help them and that will turn like slight profit to their game, and
know
like
there was
some
something
people relied
similar.
on that.
There was something similar to that about like getting your game on Steam for a while, right? You had to like pay like a
Green
certain
light,
fee.
wasn't it?
Yeah.
Or they
Something like the
implemented
green light. You had to pay a
system.
fee to get it green lighted on Steam or something like that. But like it was the same fee regardless of how big your studio was. So it was really easy for a big AAA developer to get on Steam, but indie developers with no actual sales, it was difficult for them to get on or something like that.
This is
I miss when games are just about fun.
Yeah, that's what I've had with me here is that like the thing with games. This is a very recent thing with just a bunch of like extra thing with games because for such a long time, video games throughout like there's of course been a huge leap in terms of graphics, power, and all that. But for an incredibly long time up until like now, before like the reign of DLC and season passes, pretty much every single game it was just like you buy the game, done. Like,
Yeah.
I
mean,
I can't think
it's
of
really sad too.
Yeah, I can't think of like an old game where it's like, hey, do you remember Metal Gear at the arcade? They try to rip you off, you know, you need to pay extra quarters for
I mean,
weapons.
to be fair, if we want to talk about early game ripping offs, arcades were definitely the thing.
It was so
for
bad.
ripping you off.
But it
Those
wasn't
were
pay to win though.
But it was pay to play.
I guess so.
It's even
yeah.
worse.
Well, you paid to like to play another, but it wasn't as horrible. You know what I meant, basically. I guess we went back to that, so we did like a full circle, I guess, in terms of like.
Yeah, as Wadden pointed out, arcades had artificial difficulties, so it's like they made it harder so they could get you to put in that extra quarter so you could keep playing the game.
Yep.
So it's like games have always been a little slimy when it comes to nickeling and diming money out of you, but. I don't know. For me, the sad thing about it too is like because we're hearing a lot of problems about how it's the producer versus the developer, right? It's the producer kind of coming in and meddling with the developer's vision for a game,
Which is a great narrative.
It is a great narrative, but sometimes
It's not always true.
the sad thing is like there are like producers out there that are willing to fund video games and have the developer have full reign, and sometimes it's not always a good thing. I mean, like. It wasn't that long ago that we had a really big AAA title where it was very apparent that the producers were not meddling or paying enough attention to the development of the game.
Oh no.
And we got the trash that was Mass Effect Andromeda.
Oh, dude, no!
There it is.
That's the complete opposite problem, where it's like, all right, so someone needed to be paying attention and directing this and, actually calling the shots. When you give this inexperienced developer a huge platform like this and a giant bucket of money to work with and no direction, you're going to get a terrible
Mass Effect
game.
away like that for Anthem?
I don't know, dude.
And you know
I don't
Anthem's
know.
gonna have a billion loot boxes too.
Yeah,
you know?
I don't-
It's gonna be
I'm
Destiny,
not-
but with loot boxes.
Anthem, what I saw from it, it looks completely and 100% generic. But like when it comes out, like of course I know next to nothing about the game, but I feel like I have like just a gut feeling that when Anthem comes out, and I play it, I try it, I'm not gonna be like, I'd rather just have a amazing Mass Effect game than this,
Yeah, well.
Like, why did they have to just slowly, like, die out the series?
It's unfortunate though. There's just like it's no winning with the gaming industry. It's like you gotta find the nice middle ground here
Well,
somewhere.
you want to talk about loot boxes? Andromeda did them as well, and it was equally bad. It's just that it was PvE instead of PvP, so it wasn't as.
Yeah, and
I don't mind that as much.
Yeah, it's good for PvE, but like they made it so like the entire game revolved around it, and so like what you did is that you had 3 tiers of like items, and so what you could do is that you filled up all the you bought low tier loot boxes to get all the low items maxed out, and so that you would get other stuff in your boxes.
Max out all the commons so you can
and
then start to get
they did the
rares,
stupidest thing. They added more and more stuff continuously to the lower tiers, so you would basically have to go through all that progression again, and that killed it for me.
It's even more bloated than Overwatch.
Yeah.
Because Overwatch has Overwatch has skins. They have different rarities for skins. It's like if they released a new update regularly, and they added 10 more rare skins for a character
God, why?
that only had like one tiny palette difference or like one small shit.
Yeah.
It's variety, but like it makes it so you can never get the legendary skins ever.
What they did in an update a couple months after the release in the Mass Effect Andromeda
I didn't even
multiplayer,
know about this.
Yep.
they, for some numbers for you, they added 4 times the amount of items that was already implemented in the game, and they added that to the loot pool. So if you had used a lot of money to max out all weapons, all items in multiplayer, they just quadrupled it.
Yeah, it's an artificial
gosh.
way to make you play long.
Yes, so
That's
they
what it
had a
is.
gun, and so what they did is that you have to get a gun 10 times for it to be at its highest damage, and then now they did is that when you've maxed out that gun, you can now
that's the worst.
You can get 3 more versions of that gun that you also need to max out 10 times. That just bloated the loot pool,
my God,
and
bro.
so
It's like
Okay, let's imagine like Overwatch, right? You got Overwatch, and there's this really cool skin that you want for your character, and you open up a legendary loot box. You're super excited, and it's the shoulder pad of the Pharah's new awesome.
That's what it is.
skin.
Oh,
that's
my
basically
God.
what it is.
And then you have to unlock it again to get another shoulder pad.
Imagine Goth Zarya, but you had to get her 30 times to get what you wanted instead. That's what Mass Effect.
Andromeda was ridiculous. Nobody cared about it because they wrote off the game because the single player was bad. That's why this wasn't a big controversy like Battlefront. But
Yeah,
like, it
because
was
no one
just as
cared
bad.
about the game, because like the only
The game
people that
was
played it
trash.
were like
Yeah.
some like the very
Diehards.
small community.
Die hard fans, yeah.
Yeah, and then like because they just bloated the loot pool with a lot of stuff, but like everyone had already written off that game. But like I'm very surprised that like if people wanted another reason to bash on Andromeda, look no further. You can just go to the multiplayer and then you
I
can
had
find
forgotten
so
that
much.
it was that bad, X. It was like
Yeah,
you
yeah,
get
yeah.
the pistol, you have this one pistol you unlock 10 times, 10 ranks. Then there's 3 different variations of it. One that has like bleed damage and one that
Yeah,
has like ricochet
like,
bullets.
I
And all
still-
those are 10 times.
All I wanted was like one specific cool sniper that I really wanted, but like
Good
when they bloated the
luck.
loot pool like that, it's just like no, there's no way I'm gonna get this sniper a single
That is when
time,
I quit playing, and I
let
never
alone
went back.
40 times. But yeah, and
Yep.
and to like
That's crazy, guys. Man.
and to get some closure on that,
Don't buy
they
it.
released their last expansion add-on a couple weeks ago. So
Yeah, it's all
they're
over.
not. Yeah, they Andromeda is completely.
And there goes the support.
yeah,
It's a
there's
complete
no
utter-
support
utter
for that game
failure.
anymore. It's gonna die at some point.
It's gonna die at some point. No one's gonna fix any bugs or any issues that are gonna happen. So if you're still, playing it, you're not gonna have
In the
any.
last few updates, they nerfed the lowest DPS assault rifle in the game for some reason.
Wait, what?
So
Yeah, they
Oh
they
my God.
nerfed.
They nerfed the Avenger?
I think they nerfed what's that really weird the black
Falcon?
Madoc, the black
I
Madoc.
don't know. I forget. It's not
Halberd.
important.
it doesn't even matter.
Yeah.
And like they went through all that effort to get all that money out of you, And for all we know, the servers aren't even going to last like another year.
Yep.
Basically.
We have no guarantee that the game's even going to continue running or functioning.
Buy
whenever you
micro.
Yeah, when you're thinking about buying cosmetics, think about
don't.
like, how is this is this purchase gonna affect you in a year? Is this
That's the thing, right?
yeah? Are these
That's like that's the thing that sets us apart from animals. Sometimes, you know, it's like
yeah? Not buying,
we
'cause
as
animals
humans,
they just buy all the loot boxes. They don't care, man.
they do. Think about it. Think about food, right? Like an animal, like if you're a lion, right? You're gonna go out. You're gonna kill the first thing you see, and you're gonna munch on that thing all day until you're full. You're not gonna think about, will I be able to catch another one tomorrow? Maybe, maybe not. If I eat this all now, I might just screw myself in
Animals
the
are
future.
so
Animals don't think about that.
spontaneous, man. They don't.
Exactly.
They're living in the now, man.
So if you're listening to this and you're a functional human being, think about that. You aren't a lion, you're a person. Think about what you're going to be like tomorrow. Is this microtransaction purchase going to screw you? Don't do it.
That's some deep philosophical stuff, man. You know, like, hey, you're not a lion. It's like, yeah, I'm not a lion. Yeah, you know, you're
Man, I hadn't noticed.
Yeah, you know,
Prpl, you're a dragon. Shush.
Prpl, what's going on with you? How's your life?
I
video games.
have only understood each word you've said individually. Not in this whole sentence, though, but...
What?
Not the whole sentence.
You've only understood words individually?
Yeah.
I don't understand the entire
So you
sentence,
understood
but the word
individually, but you
itself.
didn't...
I was just making a joke. Like, I have no idea what you guys are talking about because I don't play these games.
You know, loot boxes is not a hard concept to grasp.
Yeah.
I mean, I do, but I don't have
Star
much to
Wars
contribute,
Battlefront
so.
doesn't have pale white guys with
Yeah.
like really weird hair. You know,
So you're not interested.
Well, see, Prpl, you don't have to really worry about it, because all the games that you play aren't doing
yeah,
any
you
of this
play
stuff.
quality
Ooh.
stuff.
Like
Yeah.
Overwatch, which doesn't.
Yeah, I mean, Overwatch is doing it, but Overwatch is at least, like, I don't know.
Overwatch,
I
at
don't mind
least I
Overwatch.
will get, because like the big thing with Overwatch is that like apart from like balance changes, you know, it is they're trying to make it as timeless and like consistent as possible. So like the thing is that they're continuously adding like new events and stuff with the game. So like even though like if I buy this skin for this
Something
one
tells me Meso
character,
disagrees.
I will probably return to this game at some point and use this character again with this skin, and then I will thus get
No,
something out
I
of
completely
that.
agree. I don't have a problem with the skins. It's just a statement like they're continuously refreshing the game with new events. It's
Eh.
laughable.
They could do
Overwatch
things
Year
more
2 has
often,
been
but-
lazy. Literally, it's been a year almost. The only new thing they've done is the Uprising event. Otherwise, they've just recycled what they did the first year.
Yeah,
Like, oh,
and they don't even
Lucio
plan on
Ball.
making new things. Dude, Lucio Ball sucks.
Junkenstein's Revenge? Let's add an endless mode that isn't endless. That'll make people interested.
Was it not actually endless?
It was not actually endless. I beat it.
Why did you
Oh,
say
wow.
it was
Completed it.
endless then? I don't
Because
understand.
it's stupid. It's
Oh.
dumb.
Okay.
It's like,
You heard it
And I
here, boys,
guarantee-
dude. Y'all dumb.
I guarantee they're just gonna do the stupid May snowball thing for Christmas.
They are.
Oh, I hated
Oh my
that.
gosh. I remember I hated that, but it was also really fun.
I
Yes.
really liked May Snowball. I thought that was really fun. No one ever wanted to play it, and I'm like, come on, guys, can we
Because
please?
we kept losing.
Takuma.
You guys care way too
Takuma
much.
Nova
about
in the chat is calling me out. Now, what part of Endless involves beating 12 rounds and then 15 bonus rounds before you go to a game over screen and you get your credit reward? How is that endless? That is 27 rounds.
Oh, we
Unless-
got you there, boy.
Yeah.
Unless the higher difficulties,
Question
which I did not play, had endless. Yes, there's only 15 bonus rounds after the initial 12.
Dun dun dun.
Bum, 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 bum.
But yeah, Overwatch,
Wah, wah, wah. Nuts.
video games. Yeah. Crazy.
Yeah, video games are in a state right now. So if you're not a big fan of video games, probably a good thing, to be honest. At this point,
Yeah.
Oh, you're cool too, buddy.
Yeah, video games. I mean, I thought that was kind of like return to like with the holidays coming up with Battlefront and all these games coming out. I was just like, oh, I might like return to these and like play them for a little bit. But like the thing happening with Battlefront and then Call of Duty, they actually recently, even though I haven't bought it yet, they recently added skill-based matchmaking into it. And then I'm just like, oh, it's just Destiny all over again. So just.
Oh, actually, now you mentioned Call of Duty, that reminds me of another controversy.
Oh, boy.
That we don't need to talk about at length. It reminded me of one where it's like Call of Duty launched with this glitch where like if you got a loot box, it would open to nothing.
What?
Yeah, like it would literally play the animation of the loot box landing in front of you, opening up, and nothing would come out.
Oh my goodness.
There's also some.
And then you would get a little notification that said there was an error or something like that, and then the loot box just goes away.
There's
You
something
just lost
else.
your loot box.
There's something
you
else
never
really
got anything.
sketchy there as well. Is that what happened is that all from launch until like a couple weeks ago, they basically said, "Oh, we accidentally made it so that all of you got double XP since launch, so we're turning all XP gains down by 50%."
Oh
And
my
pe-
god, why?
And we don't.
Oh, yeah,
there's
sure.
no way telling that is true or not. And like,
Yeah.
because everyone. Because, like, looking at metrics in terms of, like, you had comparisons between, like, different Call of Duties in terms of, like, how much XP needed for each level and, like, overall, then it looked average, you know, among all different Call of Duties. But, like, after this patch thing where they made the XP gains lower, it looks sketchy. And I really
joke.
hate that you can't trust game developers. Like, it's like you're straight up lying.
complete-
I
It
don't
sucks,
know.
yeah, because you would want to take them at their word, but like all this stuff that keeps happening that these people keep doing, it's like there's nothing you can do to trust them now.
Can we talk about how Call of Duty World War II makes it a public spectacle opening loot boxes? Like, I don't know how many people know this. They have a
Yeah,
social
no.
space, and when you buy a loot box, it's like actually a big deal in the social space. There's an achievement for watching other people open loot boxes.
What?
That's the thing. Like, you go to this,
I
you go to
think
this
it was
hub
kinda-
area, and you watch people open loot boxes, and you get an
And
achievement
it will
for
affect people. It will make people, even if one person sees those things and they're like, "Oh, I'm gonna do these assignments
I
because
wanna
it helps
be like
me in the
that.
game," and
I
then
wanna
they look
see-
at them and they're
Okay,
like, "Oh,
well-
that's cool. I want to do that as well." You know.
I mean, with the current conversation climate that we're having right now, I get how that's a little sketch, but at the same time, I feel like I kind of liked that feature. Like, I feel like if that was an Overwatch, it'd be kind of neat. Like,
It
I would
would be.
like to see what you guys unlock
It
with
is
your loot
neat,
boxes.
but
Yeah.
it's so painfully obvious that they made all of this just so that they could like more easily commercialize like basically loot boxes, because like you
Yeah.
have all these big YouTubers on Call of Duty, they're like, "Hey, super amazing loot box
Ah,
opening."
yeah, you're right, huh?
Now you don't need to
I didn't-
go
I
to
didn't even
those
think
videos
about that.
even. You can just
all those like
it's basically
CS
making those
Lotto
YouTube
guys.
opening videos, but they have them in game now as like a feature. It even is like one of the in-game assignments is to watch people open loot
Man.
boxes.
Honestly,
You ruined that
I
for
wouldn't
me.
have hated it as much if there wasn't the achievement for it. That just really like annoyed me. Because it would be cool to see an Overwatch, but like there's levels to everything.
yeah. Yeah. Video games though, am I right?
Video games are
I have-
weird.
They are weird.
Have you played Final Fantasy 15's multiplayer, Prpl?
Not yet. I'm like saving it until it's on PC, but I have no idea when that's going to come out. So,
Yeah,
Good
you might be
luck,
waiting
dude.
a while, Prpl.
Yeah, you're gonna be waiting for forever. You know how long that game actually took to come out to begin with?
yeah, like 10 years.
Dude, Square is not in a rush to do anything.
You know, Prpl,
why?
you're sitting here and you're like, I have no idea what these guys are talking about or what these games are on, or like, I don't know anything about what your game is on about, because like, what Final
Okay,
Fantasy
so-
is for me,
Final Fantasy's weird,
Fantasy-
dude.
It's
No, but
really
I'm just-
fun.
it's for like anime Backstreet Boys like going around the car. That's the entire idea of the game that I have in my mind, and I'm pretty
I
sure
mean,
that's
that is
not it. So
basically
yes,
it.
You're
enlighten me.
pretty much, yeah, that's pretty much what it is.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What if Comrades has loot boxes?
Oh no.
It's like, I mean, it's like, obviously there's lore behind it. Like, the one guy's a prince to a giant kingdom that's at war with another kingdom that's being, you know, whatever. But like, yeah, I mean, the core of the concept is it's just a bunch of like angsty-ridden teenage, you know, anime boys just driving around and having a fun old time. That's really what it is.
It's great.
Yeah.
Whatever works.
It's good.
go
I
on-
like the game a lot.
Yeah,
but that is really what
you
it
could, like,
is.
go
I
on
will-
quests and stuff.
I will be playing it, but I'm gonna be waiting for PC.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for Final Fantasy VII remake to come out. Excited about that. I've been wanting to play Final Fantasy VII for forever, and I was about to start trying to see if I can play it when they announced the remake, and I'm like,
I'm sure
dang
we'll
it,
get
now I
a
have to
release
wait.
date in 2025. I'm sure.
we
Sure, more
probably will.
details.
Listen, I've waited this long. I can continue waiting. They have already Square's like the one developer that continuously just ruins me. You know, it continuously breaks my heart, and I just keep coming back to it because Kingdom Hearts has been just destroyed as far as a franchise that's coherent and actually accessible by anyone, and yet I'm just the biggest fan of it, and it just ticks me off every time.
I tried playing one of the games once, and I was just like, I don't know what's happening, and then I couldn't beat a boss, so I stopped.
Nice.
Yeah.
You know, other people.
Yeah, we never finished our Let's Play.
Other
Yeah, we
people
never
are like,
did.
you know, hey, we're gonna make the game 1, and then we're gonna make 2, and then we're gonna make 3, and then with Kingdom Hearts, they're like, we're gonna have 0.7, 2.3, 2.7.
Are
3,
they actually
5,
gonna
8
make you
days
like?
over 2. What does that even mean?
I love that game's title. It's my favorite thing ever.
So dumb.
Are they
I will
actually gonna
never-
make you play the offshoots to know what's going on in Kingdom Hearts?
Yes,
3?
you do. You have to. You have
Alright,
to. That's what
so
they keep.
what's
That's what
the
they're doing
deal?
with the freaking remixes right now because
Whoa.
they're like, oh, we screwed up. We had to make it. I don't know why we decided to put core story elements in games that are in a different freaking platform than the one that we made our previous game for. We screwed up, so now let's just remake the game in a freaking HD remix, and we'll launch that too. Oh, we screwed that up too. Oh, let's do remix 2.8.
Kingdom
There we
Hearts.
go. Another remix. That'll solve things.
Kingdom Hearts 2 has 4 HD remakes and 7 remakes of the actual game. There you go. That's
So, real question, what the heck is Roxas?
that's,
I know he's a
that's
nobody,
Sora's
but
nobody.
what does that mean?
It's Sora's nobody.
We have to finish Kingdom Hearts 1.
It's like
Yeah.
he's a heartless, but not, right?
No.
No, he's a nobody.
You're
not
spoiling
heartless.
Kingdom Hearts 1, Prpl.
Oh yeah, spoilers. So many.
It's
spoilers.
impossible to explain until we finish Kingdom Hearts 1 because nobodies are like this whole thing. It's
You know
really
what?
stupid.
I love the
and it's
titles.
really confusing.
I absolutely love the titles of this game. I just looked up Kingdom
And the
Hearts.
worst
What
thing is
the
that
latest-
Roxas isn't even his only nobody. He's got freaking the other girl. I don't even know her name because I never played 382
Zion?
days
There's
or whatever.
another guy that
Yeah,
looks
Zion. He's got 2 of them.
Yeah,
And
Zion
why are they
dies.
split?
And then there's
And
also
why
a
does
guy.
Roxas look like the stupid guy from Birth by Sleep? I get it. Oh, he put his stupid heart in Sora's heart. Why would he do that? That's not how hearts work.
Why is there a guy that looks exactly like Roxas, but he's not Roxas?
Who's Vanitas or whatever? He looks
That's the guy I'm
edgy.
talking about.
Oh,
Okay.
who's
He's a
that?
stupid
Here's
Keyblade.
what I love.
We-
I looked up Kingdom Hearts. It says the latest release. Kingdom Hearts HD 2.8 Final Chapter Prologue. released January 12th, 2017. What the?
The movie.
Dude, you don't understand. At the very least, okay. So the
Final
remixes are
chapter and
awful. They're
prologue
stupid.
right next.
They're very dumb and they're very confusing. But at the very least, what you're getting is you're getting game packs, right? You're able to play, Kingdom Hearts 1 and then the side games all in one game, which is actually a big deal because back in the day, Square decided they made the stupid decision to release side games on different platforms. So it was the most confusing thing ever for every fan in the world because you had Kingdom Hearts 1 and that was released on PlayStation 2, right? So everybody that owned a PlayStation 2 were fans of Kingdom Hearts. Nobody that didn't own a PlayStation 2 played Kingdom Hearts. So, you'd think the smart decision would be to release Kingdom Hearts, the next Kingdom Hearts game on a PlayStation 2 because that's where all your fans are. No, they decided to release it on a completely different portable system, the DS, I think.
Yeah, and they released one on
Chain of Memories
the
and the DS,
calculator
yeah.
as well. It's crazy, man.
There was a calculator game, yes, and that game actually had like lore. Not it was like a mobile game, I guess, but it was terrible. I don't know. But the point is, Kingdom Hearts 2 comes around, right? everybody's excited because they haven't played Kingdom Hearts in forever. They pop up Kingdom Hearts 2, and then you're playing as Roxas. Who the heck is Roxas? No one knows. Why is Sora in a pod? Why is he frozen in time? What is happening?
I like the song at in the intro though. I like
that song's really cool, dude.
Yeah, it's a really cool. Like, whoa,
that intro
things are
is so
happening.
cool, man.
I've only played the Chain of
loved it.
Memories Game Boy Advance.
My sanctuary.
That reverse singing was. Well, the CGI was. The scene where they're like running through like the Chain of Memories like staircase. And the song's just going dun dun dun. My heart's a battleground. Burn, burn,
Yeah,
burn.
exactly what you're talking about.
That part was great.
I wish they had more intros like that at the beginning of the games. I remember Rayman 3 also has like a really, really cool intro that I really loved.
It's really. Oh god, I'm tired. I just like. Oh man.
Should we end this?
I gave myself a headache.
We should be wrapping up soon.
Oh, dude,
I apologize
love
to headphone users.
Matter. It's like my favorite song. Oh, it's so good. Thanks, Guy. But yeah.
I really like Kingdom Hearts, and I'm really sad at the state of Kingdom Hearts, because Square is just continuously just taking that franchise and just pummeling it to the dirt, and it just upsets me.
It's a very abusive
games
relationship
are doing
with game developers because,
It is.
because they have something you love, you know, and you can get it from them, but kinda in a weird way, and it's not the way you wanted it, but like they're the only ones that can provide it. It's weird. I don't know.
Yeah,
we don't
can't
have
get it
a
anywhere else.
conclusion to all this like video game industry talk. It's just I don't know. Video games are weird.
I'm so sad, man. This has been a really depressing episode.
Can
This
I
has made me
complete
feel awful.
the sadness trifecta by
Yes.
briefly talking about one other thing?
Sure.
Non-game related. So I saw Justice League.
Yeah, boy.
Oh boy. Oh my gosh, here we go.
I'll keep it brief. Give my spoiler-free thoughts. I actually did like it to a degree.
Can we end this now, please?
Soon. I do feel like it's the second best DC movie, which isn't really saying much, but I do think it's better than Suicide Squad, Man of Steel, and BVS. However, at the end of the day, the best way to describe it, I feel, is still just bootleg Avengers. That's really all it is. It's the Avengers, but with everything done worse. It's like the universe isn't done as well, the villain isn't done as well, the action isn't done as well, the comedy isn't done as well, and the emotional impact moment also isn't done as well. Like,
I want to
Coulson
talk
dying
about this,
is
but
way
I also
more
want
emotional
this
than
to
anything that
end.
happens in this movie. You know, puny God is funnier than anything that happens in this movie. Like,
Aw.
the spectacle combat with the Chitauri is way better than anything that happens in this movie. However, I am one of those few people who did not think that the Avengers was the greatest thing since sliced bread. So I don't really have that high of a pedestal. I think it might be one of the reasons why I still kind of enjoyed this movie, because it's commendable what they have done. I think, and I do maintain, this movie's worst problem is that it's part of the DC cinematic universe that has been established
Same
up
with
to this
Wonder Woman.
point, which has had a horrible foundation. This movie was never going to succeed. I do think it did as well as it could have done, considering
That's
what has
good.
come before. And
I
one
will
thing
say
I
that-
will give them legitimate praise for, they did a surprisingly good job of integrating Flash, Cyborg, and Aquaman into the movie, having them be completely new characters. They all work, and you understand just enough about them to not be confused, unlike Suicide Squad, while also leaving just enough open to where you're excited to watch their solo movies. Those three characters were done way better than the other three characters.
I will say that after, like, because I don't care about spoilers. So, like, after reading some spoilers on it and, like, some, like, big synopsis and everything that happens, I'm actually interested in seeing it.
Yeah. I'd recommend watching it. Should you see it in theaters? Your
I
call.
probably won't.
But that's basically all I have to say. It's definitely flawed. I think it deserves its RT score, although I wouldn't necessarily be that harsh. But the one thing I will say, it was consistently entertaining. It was not boring. Nor was it ironically funny like Suicide Squad. It was a perfectly passable movie with a passable villain, a coherent but horribly generic story, and just as I predicted, the only thing that elevates it above that is the characters, which are done quite well. That's all I'll say.
All right. Well,
And Flash steals the show. That's all.
So that
Oh, and also not enough Aquaman.
That was the TTV episode
Also
about Kingdom
this,
Hearts.
also that.
Everybody thought Aquaman was going to steal the movie, but they literally showed all of his good scenes in the trailers, and he's not actually in it that much more than that.
Oh, rip.
He's missing for like large stretches of the movie. There's just like no
Prpl,
Aquaman.
You will have the honor of saying the last thing on this podcast.
Yes.
Go.
Hi. No, wait,
That's
don't
gonna be
bye.
Nick.
There you go. Bye.
I meant like last topic, but not like just like
I'm not this.
I don't got any topics, and
I'm not into
rolling
management, you know, but I guess I am now. All right, that's gonna be it for the
Punisher
TTV
came out.
podcast.
Punisher's really good. I'm 5 episodes in. I've been really liking it.
Do you want to like resync it, even though you already just saw the episodes?
I'm not about to resync it.
Resync 5 hours of Punisher.
Yeah, no, thank you. I'm good.
Okay.
All right.
But yeah,
Let's end.
Give a shout out, Var.
Oh, I forgot I was the one leading this.
yeah.
Sorry,
I'm
guys.
not.
Our patron shout out for this week will be Rosary.
Oh yeah,
Raspberry, you made
I know I definitely mispronounced that. I'm pretty
Razor
it's right.
Eye.
Razor Eye.
I think it's Rosary.
Rosary.
razor eyes.
I think he's new. I don't actually recognize his name.
Maybe
So,
Razor Eye. Razary. Razor Eye.
so that is our patron shout out this week. If you guys want to check out,
You want a shout out? Go to our Patreon for a
wanna
chance to
check out
join our
our
live
Patreon.
studio
Head over to
audience
our-
and
Money
stuff.
in the thing. Get in
head
the
over to our
studio
Patreon at
audience.
patreon.com/the TTV channel, and you can donate to us directly. You can help support our show, help us make podcast and fun videos, and do awesome giveaways, which you can also do by heading over to our channel and checking out our review of Ray and Kylo Ren BrickHeadz. And there's some, stuff there, and you can win
By the time this
$50,
comes
which is
out, it'll be over.
$50.
yeah, you're right. Actually, yeah, you're right. Never mind. Don't do that. Well, no, there will be there's another one that should still be up on there.
Woo!
Spoilers.
Money!
Yeah, we're doing a second giveaway. So
Neat.
be sure you're
Can I
paying
join?
attention to our.
No.
You cannot.
Aw.
Sorry.
Princess is asking what? I thought you'd win a BrickHead. No, I mean yes, you win a gift card, so you can get the BrickHead.
Or you can
That was
just
the
get
idea.
like popcorn or
Or
something.
yeah,
You
or if
get
you don't
to
want the
choose
BrickHead,
your
you
own
can.
destiny.
You could literally get anything
Guardians
else you
make
want.
their own
It's
fate.
a value of $50. So. Yeah, if you want to do that, it's a pretty cool thing. But like Meso said, by the time this is out,
Thanks
you can't do it anymore.
thanks for listening into this episode. Goodbye.
X, your impatience is making me want to continue this episode even
it's
longer.
not that I'm
Dude,
impatient.
I can talk
it's
about
that
Justice
I'm
League
gonna
for
drag
20
my
minutes.
feet.
is
I
that
can talk about how Steppenwolf is like Malekith level.
You know what, let's do
Like
it.
that.
Whoa, why is the wolf stepping? What's he
I
stepping
don't
on?
know.
I need
The
to
corpses.
get up early. I
Ew.
really need to.
All right, we're gonna continue this for another 15 minutes.
Ah!
Thank you guys for joining this episode. I hope you guys liked it. I'm Var,
On Meso.
I'm purple.
I'm EXX Ripper.
and now let's have an extended conversation about Final Fantasy.
No!
Also, now you want to.
How can there be 15 Final Fantasies?
Sync,
The
do
Final
the
Fantasy.
sync thing.
There's like individual
was-
games. They're not really
This
connected.
was TTV episode
usually.
200 and something. We'll see you guys next time.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Now for the after show, which X, you are contractually obligated to be.
You don't do after show.